So I decided to start Game 6 before Game 5 is over because I'm getting kind of tired of Game 5, to be frankly honest. So I'll probably be doing some catch-up videos once Game 5 wraps up. But just thought we get this going. I think Game 5 is going to be ending soon. I hope it's going to be ending soon. But anyways, decided to start this one up. The downside is I don't get my ranking to, get someone in there. So who knows where this person is? We got Torch. I don't recognize the name. I don't think I played them before, but I just want to get going. I know we're going to need to get some games under the belt by February in order to hopefully be pressing the top half of Platinum, and ideally I'd love to try to make a top 10 push, but I don't know if I get enough games in or not. So here we go, R1. Let's see what we got. Is he watching to see my... Oh, he is watching to watch the spectacular wins in West Russia and Ukraine that I plan to have. Five-hit wipe, first round of dice. Not quite. Ugh. Not good. Come on, guys. Come on. Phew, okay, there we go. I'll take that. Get the hit. I'd love a miss. Give me that average 6. Be nice. Okay. All right. All right. We ended out okay. Started scary, ended okay. I'm okay with that. All right. The always scary Ukraine. Okay, 4 hits. That's solid. That's solid. Okay. Okay. All right. We're okay. That's not bad. All right. That's all of them. Good. Okay. All right. All right. We'll take that. Above average there, so that's good. All right. So we got an above average start. Above average start, actually, we'll keep him back. Just for that little extra, because I like to do that in case I decide to go KJF. There we go. See what he brings. Oh boy. So here's the moment everyone hates to see. You open up and you see all this dark blue in the Atlantic. Scary as all can get out. You got 2 transports, battleship, cruiser. He built a bomber, which can help with potential sea lion. He's got some fighters. He's got all sorts of stuff. And this is this battleship transport immediately is threatening both DC and London. So It's a very scary attack. Originally, when I first time I saw this with the Germans, I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I actually haven't seen it too much since, to be frankly honest. A couple little variations here, there, but the worst is when C-Zone 10 goes their way as well. That's just, oh. I mean, I guess I can be thankful that there's not a sub sitting in C-Zone 7 too, because he did do the 5-1 attack, so he very easily could have had a sub sitting there, which would have made this even that much more of a headache. Um, but this is where I've been preaching, and I preach it in the Discord channel, and I say what I'm gonna do when this happens. And I think I've only had like one or two games that this is actually that I've had people do this since I said it. So I don't have a ton of experience doing this, but this is the one and only setup that I get where I really feel I need to go ahead and do C Zone 37 with UK1. And I'm not generally not a big fan of it, even though it is slightly favored for the Allies. I'm generally not a fan of C Zone 37. I'll be frankly honest. When it goes good, it's great, it's fantastic. When it goes bad, it's bad. So generally not a huge fan of it, but this is a scenario where I just think we have to. And I'm going to pull over the calculator here for a second just to kind of go through some of the steps of this. Um, and here we go. So this is the C-Zone 37 using the calculator. I did switch the order of loss up just a little bit because I would definitely take the cruiser before the fighter. So I got carrier going first, then the sub, then the cruisers, and the fighters. And for the defense, I'm going to assume the best that they're going to take their carriers before their fighters and then battleship. If they have their fighters for carriers, that's a little bit more in favor for the allies and for the attack. So, just the base attack here right off the bat, it's a 64% chance that something survives, and most likely that's going to be a fighter for the allies. 30% chance something for the defense survives, and that would be a battleship, unfortunately, if it does, right? Because they're going to take the battleship last. Small chance it could be where it's just a sub living and a fighter living is a possibility. But anything surviving of the Japan fleet is bad news. But we got a 70% chance that nothing survives, and we got a 64% chance that the fighter is going to survive for the Allies. So I'm taking those two odds, and that's what I'm going to look at. Either nothing survives at all for either side, 70% chance, and 64% of that 70, something is going to survive of the Allies. So let me see, I got it in here somewhere. Here we go. So this is what coming back into, so J1, C-Zone 35 is the India C-Zone, where I'm going to drop two destroyers. I'm pulling the med destroyer in and the carrier, and if one fighter survives, at 64% chance, right? This is what they have that can attack that zone, and already it's stacked. They cannot kill the India. Well, I mean they can. I mean they can take the odds, of course, but the odds are in my favor that they cannot kill the India C-Zone there right off the bat. So that is a fantastic start because then there's a whole lot that UK is going to have. They're going to have three destroyers sitting in India that can go about doing destroyer blocks to set up other maneuvers and whatnots, or even just building more fleet into the India C-Zone on UK2. So lots of options here. Let's take the 70% chance that nothing survives. And so now this does flip over to where it's going to be a favored for Japan attacking somewhat. But in doing so, they're going to be losing at least two. They're probably going to lose two, maybe three of these units in doing so when they go through this. So at the very least, they're going to be pretty darn neutered as a Japan for US coming. Then of course US is going to come hard and fast then at that point. So 70% chance to have just a fantastic start and a KJF for an aggressive KJF. I can't not take that. So let's talk about the other 30%. So say this goes poorly and the only thing that survives is the Japan battleship or some of their fleet or whatever. That's what survives. Well, then we're going to be in some heat of trouble, of course. Um, my transport's pretty much going to be dead because I won't have anywhere for him to go. I'll probably throw him out this way, so at the very least he has to send his sub, and that would decrease the chances of them doing a pearl in that case. Um, maybe I bring it this way if it's a fighter that survives and not the battleship for some reason. Then he has to use the fighter and has to land right back there and limits his mobility that way. But I mean, that transport's pretty much dead. I'm not going to put units on it at the very least. And then the other transport I'll just take over here, so he has to reach her. Most likely won't be able to get it at all because of it being a battleship or a carrier. Hopefully the carrier doesn't survive in that case. So, but the KJF may not be good then. If he's got a battleship living and all my UK fleet's gone, so he'd still have both his battleships, it's going to be a tough KJF. So then you think about it, I've got a carrier and 2 destroyer build. Well, I could drop them here, and I plan on taking out the battleship with my UK 2 fighters and a bomber. I plan on taking out the sub with the US, and we'll take out that transport with the Russian fighter going the 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. So that's my plans this turn. So from there, then it's a matter of the cruisers living, 2 fighters. If I drop it over here, this fighter can't reach, right? So he would have a cruiser, 2 fighters, and a bomber. So he would have 4 attacking units. I would have my 2 destroyers, a carrier, hopefully at least 1 of the fighters, if not 2 of the fighters, surviving that I could put up in 7, or even I could even put it in 8 and risk this guy being able to reach as well. But, 2 destroyers and a carrier with 1 or 2 fighters should be able to survive, assuming these guys are gone. And then we just gonna flip this into a slowed up KGF and just hope we can make a comeback and not lose India J3 because we're not building any units there this turn, right? So that's the big concern with doing this is Japan becomes a big target because they have 2 transports live J1. India becomes a big part of it. Japan still would have 2 transports living, and UK would have no additional units in India. So that's we're just gonna have to live with the J3 India almost as a reality. The good news with this setup is he didn't do anything with TJ, right? So I can pull my units back, pull this 1 infantry up, and so I'm going to have 3 infantry, artillery, tank. So that's going to give me 5 units versus his 4 sitting there, bringing this guy up. And hopefully if everything goes well, we're going to have the bomber live and come over here. And so we'd have the bomber pressure, or we'll have the 1 fighter survive and we'll have that fighter pressure here. So we shouldn't have to worry about Southern Africa if the KJF goes on. So that's the whole plan. And that's talking a lot. I know there's a lot of talking, but this is one of those things that people say, what do you do if this comes up? And so this is going to be my go. So we're building 2 destroyers and a carrier. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, hair crossed, spinning around, facing east, pull all the good luck in that I can, because C-Zone 37 always makes me nervous. I think the last couple of times I did try it went really poorly. So I will speak to this. One of my Discord buddies mentioned, do you also go for DEI UK1? Go for the big kill, because I could take transport 2 units, have 4v2, which is like a 75% chance win, and take DEI on UK1 as well. And of course that would be pretty powerful as well. And if you have something survive, then he possibly wouldn't be able to kill them. But at the same time, he does have 2 fighters, a destroyer, and a bomber, all that can reach there. So it's not like that. They would just be able to wipe it out, and I'd lose my 2 transports. And if it goes poorly, I don't have any options at all. It's just gonna be two loaded transports with 4 infantry just being destroyed. So I tend to not to. Um, if things go well, I'll be taking DEI UK2, possibly even Borneo UK2. So I'm not hard pressed to go ahead and do the major victory there, if you will. All right, let's see. So I'm going to do C-Zone 37 first to let me know what I want to lose over here in C-Zone 13. If 37 goes good, then I'm not dropping a fleet here, so I'm not worried about keeping my fighter. So I'd rather lose a fighter first and let my bomber live so I can get my bomber over here putting pressure on. If 37 goes bad and I'm going to have to drop my fleet in the Atlantic, I'll probably lose my bomber first so I can drop my fighters on the carrier. And I think that's it, right? Yeah, that's it. Here we go. All right. First game as a gold ranked player. Or poor. That's a poor prognosticator. Come on now. Remember, you can choose which battle you do first by right-clicking for those that did not know that. Like I said, I want to know how this goes first. Did it hit? All right. Oh, Nelly. That's one, two. That's the whole thing. That's a kit and caboodle there. Oh, Nelly. Oh, Nelly. I wasn't counting on surviving. I don't even, this much surviving. I don't even know what to let live. Yikes. Okay, so what do I want to let live? All right, I'm going to pause. I wasn't expecting a Yahtzee. So yeah, so I was just taken by shock there. I want at least one of the fighters to make it back over there, so that'd only leave me 2 units that I could leave in C-Zone 37. And no 2 units is going to survive against 2 fighters destroying our bomber. So, you know, they're going to get destroyed. So now I'm thinking, okay, so what can make them trying to hit whatever's left be painful? And I'll take both fighters back to the carrier in India so that stack's absolutely safe. So a cruiser gives me a 50% shot hitting back. I thought about saying the sub to make him send the destroyer, but if he doesn't send the destroyer, then I get a 50% shot at one of his planes, and I'll be happy to take a 50% shot at one of his planes. So we're going to leave the cruiser there. All right, so we'd like for the bomber to live here. We'd like for all three to live, don't get me wrong, actually. I mean, we want all three to live. Nice. I'm going to take the hit on a fighter. I'm going to lead the well, no, I'm not. No, actually, I'm going to leave the transport there. That is what I wanted to say. Bomber, we're going to bring him on up into here. I'm going to bring the fighter down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can be in C-Zone 35 next turn. So we can continue to stack up the C-Zone potentially against them. Now I gotta remember to take that transport out with my fighter. The other thing, so coming here, this fighter can go 1, 2, 3, nowhere to land. This fighter 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't reach him. Bomber 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's safe coming out over here. And so that gives me the potential of a transport to Borneo and a transport to DEI next turn if I choose it. I'm not necessarily saying that's what I'm gonna do, but I'm saying that's a possibility. All right, I think that's everybody. We'll see what he decides to do.